Hello everyone. In continuation with the isolation of nucleic acids, in this part 3 of the video we are going to discuss about the isolation of RNA. Same like the DNA, RNA can also be isolated and it can be precipitated by treating with the alcohols. Either we can use isopropanol or ethanol. And remember here, compared to DNA, RNA is more sensitive. It can be easily damaged. So whenever you plan an experiment for the isolation of RNA, make sure you wear a gloves, because the RNases which are present on our fingertips can easily degrade the RNA. And moreover, if there is any rise in the temperature or if any change in the pH, that may also leads to the degradation of RNA. So make sure you plan an experiment and you perform it under a sterile conditions. And moreover, you need to make sure that the solution should be free from RNases. What does this RNases do? These are the nucleases, especially act on RNA and they will degrade the RNA. But here our intention is to isolate the RNA. So make sure that the solution is free from the RNases. To avoid the problem of RNases, we can include certain RNase inhibitors, which includes sodium dodecyl sulfate, proteinase K, RNasin and vanadilyl ribonucleoside. So these are the RNase inhibitors. We can use any of it to avoid the problem with the RNases. And now we are going to learn about the isolation of RNA, especially by using a method called acid guanidinium thiocyanate phenol chloroform extraction. Simply we call it as AGTPC method. So here in this method we are going to maintain acidic conditions for the isolation of RNA and to separate the RNA from the DNA. Okay, this is a liquid extraction method. And by using this method, it will develop a density gradient. That is based on the density, it will form a gradient. So here I am telling you that we are going to use guanidium thiocyanate and phenol and chloroform. So after the addition of these solutions, when you observe the Eppendorf tube, you can observe two phases. So the lower one is the organic phase and the upper one is the aqueous phase. After you treat it with the guanidium thiocyanate and phenol and chloroform, what's the role of phenol here? It will denature the protein. Here the role of the guanidium thiocyanate is it will degrade RNase as well as the protein. Okay, and what is the leftover? We are left with the RNA and the DNA, right? So when you observe the Eppendorf tube, where you observe two different phases, that is the organic phase and the aqueous phase, this protein and the cell debris will be partitioned into this organic phase, whereas in this aqueous phase DNA and RNA will be partitioned. Okay, but here out of these two nucleic acids, DNA and RNA, we are interested in RNA but not in DNA at this moment. So for that reason, what we are going to do is we have to maintain acidic conditions. That is, the pH should be around 4 to 6. When you maintain acidic conditions, the DNA which is in the aqueous phase will be partitioned into the organic phase. See clearly, these are the two phases. Okay, this is the organic phase and this is the aqueous phase. Here protein, cell debris, everything will be partitioned in the organic phase, whereas in the aqueous phase there will be a presence of RNA and DNA. As we are only interested in isolating the RNA and not the DNA, what we are doing here in this method is we are maintaining the acidic conditions, that is the pH should be around 4 to 6. Then what happens is the DNA which is in the aqueous phase will be partitioned into the organic phase. So what is left in the aqueous phase? Only RNA is left in the aqueous phase, because the DNA has partitioned into the organic phase when you maintain a acidic pH. If the pH is neutral, that is around 7, what happens is both the DNA and RNA will be in the aqueous phase only. But we want only RNA to be in the aqueous phase but not the DNA, because here we are interested in isolating RNA only but not the DNA. So that is the reason we are going to separate RNA from the DNA. That is the reason we are going to maintain a acidic pH of 4 to 6. So what happens here? So initially we are going to lyse the cell for the isolation of RNA, and then we are going to precipitate it by adding a alcoholic treatment, and then followed by the purification step, which is a basic steps for the isolation of nucleic acids. So here in this step, after partitioning, what we are going to do is we are going to collect this aqueous phase into a fresh Eppendorf tube which is containing RNA, right? Now we are going to treat this aqueous phase with a isopropanol, which causes the precipitation of RNA. Okay, this is the step of precipitation by the treatment with the alcohol. So after the precipitation of RNA, what you are going to do? You have to collect the RNA pellet by centrifugation. And then what you are going to do? You have to wash the RNA pellet with ethanol. After washing, what you are going to do? Again you have to centrifuge to collect the RNA pellet, and that RNA pellet is to be air dried. That is, you have to remove this ethanol by leaving it at a, just the solution of ethanol can be discarded, and the leftover traces of ethanol can be removed by just leaving the tube in a room temperature, so that the other traces of ethanol will be evaporated. Okay, and you will have only a pellet in the tube. That air dried pellet is again resuspended in tea buffer or in water that is free from RNAs. If again the water is contaminated with RNAs, again your product may get degraded. So to avoid that problem, you have to resuspend the isolated RNA pellet into a sterile water. This is how we are going to isolate RNA by a acid guanidinium thiocyanate phenol chloroform extraction method. So now let's discuss about the protocol for the isolation of RNA. And the first step is that we need to collect the cells. Make sure that after the period of incubation, you need to process the cells immediately. So first step is that you need to centrifuge the cells and you have to discard the supernatant. And then you need to wash the cells with saline. So here for the purpose of washing, we are going to use PBS, that is the phosphate buffered saline, and followed by the addition of 1 ml of denaturing solution. So this denaturing solution is a combination of 4 molar guanidinium thiocyanate, 25 millimolar sodium citrate, 0.05% N-laurosyl sarcosine, and 0.1 molar to mercaptoethanol. And then we have to resuspend the cell lysate at least for 10 times. After the addition of this denaturing solution, you have to gently mix it by inverting the Eppendorf tube. So here, especially when you are treating with the denaturing solution, DNA will fragment and minimize its presence in the aqueous phase. Here we are interested in isolating the RNA. By maintaining the acidic pH, what happens is the RNA will left in the aqueous phase, whereas the DNA will be partitioned into the organic phase. So here by adding the denaturing solution, the DNA will fragment and minimize its presence in the aqueous phase. And in the next step, what we are going to do is we have to transfer the tissue or a cell lysate. Here I am talking about the cell lysate, but when you work with the plant samples, what you need to do is you have to collect a plant tissue and then you need to add a liquid nitrogen. as a part of freezing the sample, and then you can crush the tissue by using a homogenizer. So whether you take a tissue or a cell lysate, the next step is to transfer the tissue or a cell lysate into a fresh Eppendorf tube with a capacity of 4 ml or 5 ml, and to this 1 ml of cell lysate you are going to add 0.1 ml of 2 molar sodium acetate maintained at a pH of 4, because when you maintain these acidic conditions, the RNA will be partitioned in the aqueous phase. So after the addition of this 2 molar sodium acetate, you have to mix thoroughly, and then followed by the next step, that is the addition of 1 ml of water saturated phenol. So how much amount you are going to add here? You are going to add 1 ml of water saturated phenol and 0.2 ml of chloroform and isoamyl alcohol at a ratio of 49:1. See, carefully observe here, we are saying that we need to add water saturated phenol but not the buffer saturated phenol. The reason for using water saturated phenol is that you need to maintain a acidic pH for the isolation of RNA. But if your pH is neutral, that is if the pH is 7, both the DNA and RNA will be partitioned in the aqueous phase, but your interest is to isolate RNA only but not the DNA. So for that reason you have to strictly use a water saturated phenol, and then you have to cool the samples on ice for 15 minutes, followed by the step of centrifugation, where you are going to centrifuge the samples at 10,000 rpm at 4 degrees centigrade for 20 minutes. Remember, you have to strictly maintain these temperature conditions when you go for the extraction of RNA. If there is any change in the temperature or any change in the pH, that may lead to the degradation of RNA. So once you are done with the step of centrifugation, you are going to transfer the aqueous phase where the RNA is present. Transfer that aqueous phase into a fresh tube free from RNases, otherwise those RNases will degrade your RNA in the sample. Then what you are going to do in the next step is you have to add 1 ml of isopropanol. So here you are going to treat it with the alcohol for the precipitation of RNA. By adding 1 ml of isopropanol, the RNA which is present in the aqueous phase will get precipitated. You are going to incubate the solution at least for 1 hour at a temperature of -20 degrees centigrade, and then again you have to go for the centrifugation at 10,000 G at 4 degrees centigrade for 20 minutes. So here after the process of centrifugation, again you are going to discard the supernatant. As you have added the isopropanol alcohol, your RNA is going to get precipitated, and when you go for the centrifugation, based on the density, the RNA will form a pellet that is going to get attached at the bottom of a Eppendorf tube. And again in the next step, the RNA pellet is to be dissolved in 0.3 ml of denaturing solution, which we have used earlier in the initial step. Again we are going to use here the 0.3 ml of denaturation solution along with the 0.3 ml of isopropanol. The reason is that again you are giving a wash so that you get a pure form of the RNA. That's why you are again repeating this step with the addition of 0.3 ml of denaturing solution. If still any proteins or the DNA that is present in the solution will be completely removed, leaving a pure form of the RNA. Again you have to centrifuge the solution for 10 minutes, because once you resuspend the pellet, again you need to collect the pure form of the RNA pellet. For that reason again you have to centrifuge the solution for 10 minutes at 10,000 G maintained at a temperature of 4 degrees centigrade. Then again you will get a RNA pellet. You have to discard the supernatant, and that RNA pellet is to be resuspended in 0.5 to 1 ml of 75% ethanol, and then you have to mix well. Make sure your pellet is dissolved in this 75% ethanol. Then what you are going to do is, here after the addition of 75% ethanol, you have to incubate that solution for 10 minutes to remove the traces of guanidinium, because here you are using the chemical guanidinium thiocyanate, right? But you have to remove the leftover guanidinium in the solution. And to get a pure form of RNA, you are going to incubate that solution by adding a 75% ethanol to remove any impurities that is left in the solution, followed by the centrifugation for 5 minutes at 10,000 G, maintained at a temperature of 4 degrees centigrade. Again, what you have to do? You have to discard the supernatant and you will get a RNA pellet in the Eppendorf tube, and that RNA pellet is to be air dried. You have to remove that 75% ethanol by discarding the supernatant. If still the ethanol is present, you can just invert the test tube and gently tap it onto a filter paper to remove the ethanol. Once you are done with discarding the supernatant, you have to air dry the RNA pellet, and that air dried RNA pellet is to be dissolved in water free from RNAs. To ensure proper dissolving, you can incubate that solution at 60 degrees centigrade for 15 to 20 minutes. That allows the RNA pellet to dissolve in a water, which you can use it for the further studies. And once you are done with the isolation of RNA, again you need to check for the purity of RNA by taking the absorbance value at a wavelength of 260 nanometers, and then you have to check the ratio of the absorbance at 260 nanometers and the absorbance at 280 nanometers. For nucleic acids, you are going to use a wavelength of 260 nanometers. If in case of proteins, you can go with the 240 nanometers of wavelength. Here for RNA, you are going to take a ratio of absorbance at 260 nanometers and absorbance at 280 nanometers, and that ratio should be approximately 2. Above 2 and below 2 indicates the presence of contaminants, but if you get a ratio of 2, that indicates that the sample is pure. Your RNA is extracted in a pure form. Okay, this is the protocol about the isolation of RNA. Hope you understand this session, and soon I will come up with the next video. Take care.